Hey guys, welcome back to How It's Done. So today we're going to be taking a look at possibly repairing this couch. So I sat down here the other day and felt a snap and something sunk in. So we're going to remove the cushion and see, yeah, right here it goes in quite a bit. So I'm thinking one of the cross supports must have snapped. So we're going to go ahead and disconnect this from over here, flip it over, and see what we can access from underneath, see if this is something we can fix or not. So we got the couch flipped over, and you can see the bottom of it. We're going to end up having to take this apart, take this underside of it off. We'll just remove the staples here, because right here, where I thought it was, you can feel that there's a piece of wood here that, yeah, it has broken. So we go ahead and get some needle nose out, maybe a small little flathead screwdriver, start pulling these staples out. I don't think I'm going to have to take them all out. What I'll probably do is take from about halfway down over here. The legs, if you've ever done furniture assembly, typically they'll either be screwed in with something that you use a screwdriver or a wrench for, or they'll just unscrew by hand, like the screws built in, and that's the way it works in this case. So yeah, I'll take this leg and this one off. We'll take those staples out. So like I said, to get the staples out, basically just using a small screwdriver to get them started. Then from there, going back with the needle nose, just pulling them out. Some of them are just breaking clean off. Since this is the bottom, that's okay. I'm not really worried about someone sitting down and poking themselves. Just keep track of your staples so you don't catch any in your feet. So one more thing that I'm also going to point out, underneath here, you've got an extra set of staples that actually holds this side fabric on, so you don't really need to worry about that when you're removing the staples. But yes, we did have a piece snap in here, one of the cross supports, and that would explain why when you sit down on this whole thing just shifts inward. So this is apparently designed to keep the springs nice and tight, and that isn't happening. And I can also see that here this has started to pull away. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to drill a pilot hole or two in here and put some screws in to snug this back up to place, because it looks like it was just held in place by some staples. We'll get this pried off with a screwdriver or something. Same thing up here, because again, this is all just held in by staples. And then you can see it's got kind of a little bit of an arch cut into that. So I will just use these pieces to lay out on another piece of plywood, mark out the size and dimensions it needs to be, and we'll cut our replacement. Probably not going to go back with staples. I'm probably going to do some pilot holes over here and over here as well, and just screw it into place. And I'll take the measurement of this plywood here so that I can make sure the screws I'm putting into this are not going to come poking through the front. Alright, so I got this piece laid out. Fortunately, I just happen to have a scrap piece of 3/4 inch plywood handy, so I used that and got it laid out, marked down its locations that need to be cut. For these side pieces, since I'm going to be going back with screws, because I feel like that's going to be a little bit sturdier, I'm actually going to take a 2x4 and just cut some 2x2 squares out of that, or a 2x2 rectangular block, whatever you want to call it, and we'll use that. And then I'll drill the pilot holes, and we'll put all this back together. So, yeah, you can kind of see about where that's going to go. And I'll just have to use my jigsaw to get the curve there about right, but shouldn't be too difficult. So let's get after it. Alright, so these pieces are done. It does have a little bit of a rough edge, so just going to give it a light sanding. Really, not the end of the world, because nobody's going to actually come in contact with it except me. But I would like to avoid getting splinters too. So, yeah. There you have it. Drill some pilot holes and get this put back in place. Alright, so the new piece is in place. I went ahead and tapped it into place with a hammer. This piece here was bent forward a little bit, so I had to press it out a little bit in there to start getting it in there, but once I hit it with the hammer, it seemed to slide in pretty well and line up pretty good. So now what I'm going to do is go ahead and screw these in place. Went up and just picked up a box of deck screws. That seems to be what I use most around here. So yeah, these are going to be just about the length where they're going to be at risk of poking through the front. Just a little bit shy, so I just want to make sure that I don't countersink them too much. And I'm putting it to where it's going into the grain of the wood to secure it into place here. But since you're going to be sitting on this and the weight is going to be pressing downward, this actual piece is going to be going into the side against the grain. So hopefully that will prevent this from breaking again in the future. So drill this in place and we'll see how this looks. Start stapling the back shut. Alright, so now that that's done, the last thing that's left to do is to staple everything back in place. And for that, what I like to do is pull it tight to the corners and then work my way back. So I'll get this one nice and tight in the corner here. And we'll hit this other corner up top. pretty much all there is to it. You put the legs back on, flip it back over, and yeah, so turns out by taking it apart, we could fix it. So if you like videos like this, go ahead and subscribe to my channel. I've got plenty more stuff like this to come. If you have a recommendation of something you'd like to see how to fix, let me know, and we'll see if we can get it done for you. And that is how it's done.